Hello friends, today we're going to be doing a review for the U-100 MK5 light machine gun for the support class. As always, first thing, let's go over our loadout. For the optic, we're using the Coyote red dot sight. You know why, you don't need to ask. And for our accessory, we're using the green laser sight because it's pretty, and you know it is, just accept it. We're using a suppressor for our barrel attachment, which I don't typically use with most of my weapons in BF4, but I felt that it was absolutely necessary with this weapon. I'll explain later. And for the underbarrel, we're using the angled grip because it gives you a nice, accurate first 2 or 3 bullets. And I like that. Okay, so first off, there's two hugely important things that you need to know about this weapon that explains why I chose a suppressor. The first is low damage. It does a max of 25, so up close it still takes 2, 3, or 4 shots, depending on if you got a headshot in there, to kill somebody. And then it drops down after that, taking even more. The second really hugely important factor is the weapon has a fairly slow fire rate. Okay, these things combined basically equal use a suppressor. I say that because it really comes down to remaining effective on the battlefield. And while you'll be able to get some good flanks without a suppressor and still kill probably a few people because of your magazine count and things of that nature, I just don't think you'll be as effective as you could be with the suppressor, and that's why we're going with that, to maximize our effectiveness on the battlefield with this weapon. On that note, let's discuss where you belong in terms of the pack. Should you be front of the pack, middle of the pack, or back of the pack with this weapon? And really, it might come to as a surprise to you, but I actually think that you belong more front of the pack with this weapon, at least in terms of conquest. Honestly, I don't recommend using this weapon, this loadout, in something like Team Deathmatch or Domination. Probably could get away with it in Rush, but conquest seems to really be where you're going to shine with this particular loadout on this weapon. And the reason for that is you can do front of the pack with this weapon on these maps where you can really go anywhere 360 degrees around a flag to push it, so you're able to get those flanks and you're able to pick a whole lot of kills without being identified. And that's what you need with a weapon that really has such a low fire rate. So our primary focus is going to be how we move with this weapon. It's not really going to be so much the weapon itself as our tactical movements on using as much cover as possible, on paying attention to which way the little Doritos on your minimap are pointed so you can avoid heads-up engagements, because you are going to lose most of those heads-up engagements because, well, honestly, the weapon head-to-head is inferior to probably a majority of the other guns in this game in terms of damage and fire rate. It just doesn't compete. That's why we have that suppressor on, because we do want to compete, and our way of competing is by shooting people in the back. Now, you can still be pretty effective, even middle of the pack with this weapon. That's because of the weapon's relative accuracy and the amount of bullets that you have. So you can still be killing people at decent ranges, and it is relatively effective for that. Now, in terms of longer range engagements, like snipers up on big building roofs and things like that, you're really just going to give them a little bit of a tickle. They might go, hey, 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 thank you, but you're just not going to be killing them. Apart from the rare instance where they've already been shot with a sniper rifle and only have like 10 HP, yes, you do get those kills. But it had nothing to do with you. It was all because somebody else did all of the work for you and you just got lucky. So you want to focus on those tactical movements, on being super, super sneaky. Okay? It's all about the sneaky sneak. If you can be sneaky sneak, you're going to profit and do really well with this weapon. Okay, so now that I've persuaded you with my very elegant argument for the sneaky sneak, let's talk about actually shooting the weapon. And you can get away with holding down the trigger probably a little bit more than you should be able to, which is kind of nice with this weapon. But if you really want to go for some relatively tight grouping, nice accurate shooting, I'm going to say 5 to as much as 10 round bursts, and you're really going to be putting the opponents in the grave. And that's where they belong. People that rise up against you, you need to smack them down and say no. No, no. And lastly, if you find yourself in a hipfire engagement, basically you turn a corner and boom, somebody right in front of you, do not take the time to ADS. Instead, point your gun at said opponent, hold down the trigger, strafing back and forth and side to side and up and down and left and right and in circles, do-si-do, here we go. And do not let go of that trigger button until either they are dead or you are out of ammo. If you run out of ammo and manage to switch to your pistol. No matter the outcome, it is important that you type in chat, noob fight, LOL. GG's guys. God bless.